Hello, everyone. It's the Sky Priestess. How are you doing? I figured it was a good time to go live. I know that a lot of you are asleep, but some of you are awake, as tends to be when we look at global time zones. So, today I wanted to talk about, well, obviously, we are coming in close to the eclipse in Gemini, and there's a lot of I think there's a word I learned from Terry Pratchett, which I really love. I believe it's called a susurration. It's like the sound of rustling leaves. There's a lot of susurrations in the air surrounding this upcoming eclipse. And I've certainly been seeing people act out in very, very, very strange ways. Um, Sometimes it's a case of miscommunication, and sometimes it's just people are acting flat out psycho. So, there's a there's a lot of energetic intensity that's in the air right now, and I want, for me, this channel is not exactly about astrology, and it's not about deep spiritual mysticism. It's about community, right? As I've told you once, I've told you so many times, if you want to know about that stuff, you can go to my professional services, which you can access through my website, www.theskypriestess.com. But what we do here is really more about that community space. And it's a space where people can talk, ask questions. I mean, without, trying to make their own little throne or pedestal or whatnot. But it's certainly a space where it's about people having a human experience and, sharing that experience together. Just because, I mean, there's been decades and decades and decades of people talking about spirituality and mysticism and alchemy and astrology and all of that stuff in an advanced way. And it's not to say that I don't do that in my private practice, but I have found that talking about it is useless. What is far more useful is actually being able to have a conversation with people, to share space, to come together in ways that allow a person to feel connected to something real that is worth far more than any learning that you can do, than any training that you can do, than any certification that you can get. It is about making people feel that deep and innate connection with spirit. And that's what we do here, especially in the Hello Neighbor series. So today's theme is this is the title of this particular installation was installed by a session that I just had, and I just said it out loud. I said, "Sanity is the new sexy," and they just went, "You should put it on a mug." And I figured, you know what? That's probably what people need to hear right now. So I'm gonna go do a Hello Neighbor on it. So before we get into today's topic, general topic, general conversation, let's see who's around. And let's do our usual greetings, which is part of the way we weave in a good way, in the way we create magic, you know? So let's see. All right. VB is very excited because he was just checking my page and he was like, I knew you were going to do a Hello Neighbor, and there you are. You appeared. Maybe I did it for you. I am very in tune with people who, sometimes I might not even think about them for decades or months or years. But someone I've done a session with, if there's something wrong, or if I know they're thinking about me, if I know they need something, I will know. And then I'll be like, hello. That's just how it goes. So hello, Vivi. Hello, Gina Maria Rogers. Gina, I have sent you a message. I think there's some, weird telecommunication things going on. Please check your email. Sending you hugs, sending you love. Let's clear this up. Jessica says, morning, Dr. B. Good morning, Jessica. It is good evening here. And I've gone and pressed the button again. Oh, come on. Mackie waves. Hello, Mackie. Angela's like, woke up and can't. You just can't. Well, she's saying she can't get back to sleep. I understand. I've had like 2 hours of sleep today, about 2 hours. Yesterday was very intense, very exciting. Exciting doesn't always mean a good thing. It just means I have more work to do. I think I've had about 2 hours of sleep and very intense facilitations today. The energy of this eclipse is, it's building. It's building. And, I'm just kind of like, do things as I can. So let's see. Dragon Ascension Therapies. Hi, all. Hi. Jonathan Thomas says, peace, Dr. B. Peace to you, Jonathan. Gabriella says, love you too. Wangari says, so glad to tune in. Much love to you from Kenya. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Vivi says, well, I have realized that many people forget reality when they dwell deep into astrology. That's very true. You know, the moment you think life is just on a map, however accurate that map may be, you forget living. Oh my God. Oh my God, my brother's girl wants to say hi, but let's see if she comes back. Let's see if Lucky Cat comes back. But she just looked and I was talking about that. So let's see. So Jessica says, hello, your mug collection is really expanding. Yes, it is. I might actually truly have a business on my hands. Tony Desan says, hi, hello. Gina says, yeah, thank you. I'll check. Yes, thank you. Let's clear that up. Angela just said, I just slept about 2 hours, then woke up, lol. Desi says, hello all from South Africa. Hello, hello, hello. It's good to see all of you. It's a good crowd. I know quite a few of you, actually. It's funny. My energy is one which you can't really contest what I'm saying, because when I say shit, it comes from a place of I've done the research, I've looked into things, I've checked, and checked it again. Some people love it and they will keep coming back for more, and some people hate it. It comes from having Saturn on the great attractor, which is at 14 degrees Sagittarius for everybody right now. So, you know, when you have anything around the great attractor, people get pulled to you and they get pushed away from you. Sometimes they have no idea why. It's just one of those crazy wisdom teacher types. So that would be me. But you know, it's the kind of it's just the kind of energy that doesn't always align with people always, because it's something that's always challenging you to grow, to feel, to go deeper, and to keep challenging yourself. Not everybody wants that. And you got to recognize people for where they are and say, hey, that's fine too, you know? I mean, I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know, for the stuff that I actually do talk about when I get into it, I could have a very large following, but I don't really think I work that way. I prefer people who want to know, you know, and more than the want to know, they like the person behind the knowing. And that's really when you develop these kinds of relationships. Because when you try to develop a relationship with a concept that's larger than, you know, it's like, this is the great ideal, and that is the great secret, and this is the great technique. And, you know, when you just do stuff like that, you kind of forget the human connection that is there. And for me, the greatest things that have made the greatest change in my life were people. They were people who decided to be kind, even when they didn't need to be, you know? And that has always been something that has always brought me back to the reality of what the heck we are all doing here. Yeah, sure, I can talk to you about this alignment and that star constellation and that consciousness and that intelligence and this discernment and blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't add up to much unless there is a will and a love, a true love, to actually take all of that stuff and do something real with it. I mean, something very interesting happened to me recently. And just to answer your question, VB, the lunar eclipse has an effect on you no matter where you are, no matter where you are in the world. So, you know, in the sense that you don't always see, okay, let's say Mars is trining Jupiter or Saturn is in conjunct Neptune or something. You're not seeing it. You know, you're not seeing it with your eyes. You're not, you know, like unless you go with a telescope and you know, it stuff's visible. But it's not something that, you know, you necessarily have to see with the naked eye. It is always there. But a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse are both major events. And the thing about eclipses is that they actually seed patterns of time in 18-ish years cycles. So if you look at the preparation document that I did, and I want all of you to refer back to it, it's on my website. Look back at what happened September 1912, October 1930th, I'm reading it out, October 1948, October 1966, November 1984, November 2002. So these are areas and times where this particular cycle of eclipses has been seeded into. And whatever you're doing now, you're going to come back to in another 18-year cycle. That's just the thing about eclipses. It affects everybody, and each eclipse series can last for a very, very long period of time. So let's get back to a different comment. Tony says that she's been oversleeping lately, not sure if it's in relation with the eclipse. Possible. Different people respond differently. Daphne said, food morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy to see you. It's been a rush. Oh, she lost a childhood friend. I am sorry to hear that. My condolences. It is a time, eclipses are a time where sometimes people decide, karma's done, it's time to go. So, my sincere condolences for your loss. And I hope you take as much time as you need to heal from it. Lucky cat agrees. So, it's, oh yeah, this is what I wanted to say. So, this is an example of one of the things that came my way, because this eclipse is focused on my 12th house, right? It's all about the spiritual world. It's all about, this cat is going to keep meowing unless I pick her up. So, hang on. All right. I have no answers for your dad. Hang on. Come on, cat. She decided to bail on us at the last minute. Just me. She decided to bail on us at the last minute. So, as I was saying, these eclipses are, for me, it's in my 12th house of spirituality, the numinous, the liminal, the transcendental, and all bullshit karma you can imagine. But it's also the house of altruism. I mean, not necessarily in a way that it's seen. Altruism is you see it a lot in the 11th house and the sign of Aquarius, the energy of Uranus. But in the 12th house, it's a different kind of compassion. It's a compassion that has to come with detachment. And that's the lessons people with Cancer risings will very, very much resonate with this. All of you would, but especially those with Cancer risings, like I do. It's the kind of lesson where you have to look at what's coming, you have to do what you need to do, and you have to keep your emotions away from the rest. That's that mixture of compassionate detachment. Now, for example, someone with Gemini in a different house will have a completely different experience. Let's say someone has Gemini in the 10th house, right? And, it could even be a time where, for some people, they may be bringing something into the public eye, into their career. And for other people, it could be the eclipsing or closing of a particular door. It really depends on where things are in your chart. And there's always something activating it. So have a go to astro.com, look up your chart, look at what Gemini is doing at 8 degrees, which is where the eclipse is going to be. So, it's about just stick to the basics and look what actually comes up. Sometimes knowing too much astrology just confuses the shit out of people, and that doesn't help. But in my case, let me tell you what happened. You might find this very interesting. This dude messages me on Instagram, and he's got this Instagram name called God is Great 11111 or something like that. And he's got a picture of some deity, and he's got the words born to live. And I'm like, okay, who are you? What do you want? And he goes, please, please, sister, I need a job. Give me a job. And I'm like, I knew from the language, this is someone from India. And I go, who are you? What do you want? And I'm like, how do you know who I am? Why are you messaging me? And he's like, I have no idea. You were in my Instagram people, you might know thing, and I'm just sending random messages because I don't have any food and da 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 da. And I'm thinking, this is probably some scammer, but something in me just kind of went, no, check it out, check it out. So I call him. I look at his face and I hear his story, and I'm like, okay, no, you are literally someone who is starving without food and a job. Your parents are dead because of coronavirus, and somehow something decided to ask you to go and message a bunch of random people, which included me. And what was funny is he had no idea that I spoke the same language as him. So he was like stunned, and because he had no idea who I was. So I said, okay. So I'm arranging some help for him. He's still doing the help thing, and I'm just like, nope, buddy, I'm doing my job. It's about it. You'll get help when you get help. Next. And that's how you have to do it sometimes. Sometimes being compassionate, sometimes having these kinds of, having these opportunities to help doesn't mean that you have to get all mushy and gooey and whatnot about it. Sometimes the help is really just doing the thing finishing your job and saying, it's in your hands now. And for me, that's certainly what's come up around this particular eclipse. That and looking at all kinds of old energies, which is just like, hello, would you like to say hi to me again? And I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no. So there's been a lot of that going on. Opportunities to be compassionate, but also practice that sense of detachment. But that's been my experience so far. Everyone will have something else. So let's see. Okay. Vivi says, all this time I was tolerating toxic behavior towards me, but this time I've decided to report it no matter what. That is good. Stepping up in your communication, knowing what you will tolerate, knowing what you won't tolerate is very, 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 very important at this time. And everyone is going to find their own balance to that. So, VB, if this is a big shift in a pattern for you, that's great. That's great in stepping up and claiming your own space and doing what is actually right for you to be able to exist in the space around you. Now, the thing about Gemini is that Gemini be crazy sometimes. All signs can be crazy in their own ways. But Gemini has a particular brand of crazy. It's the kind of energy which can really just explore and look at different things and then look at other things and then look at other things. And it's one of those minds that can connect and take in, different pieces of information. And as it takes different pieces of information, it creates a whole. That's Gemini. But Gemini can also be very detached in a negative way, very sociopathic, and very disconnected from emotion to the point where it can switch from one position to another position to another position. That's why Gemini, in a negative sense, is often, shown as having two faces or having the forked tongue. So, this is a time where you also want to see whether or not people are communicating with you as they are or if they're saying something to you and something behind you. So that kind of stuff can also come up, for as a general, very very general idea to look into as well. Gossip, slander, naysaying, all of this stuff can come up big time. It's really about using the power of your voice, knowing where to go and where to pull back. Let's turn back to the community for a sec. Hello, Makti. Hello, nice to see you. She says, I'm surrounded by Geminis who are out of balance. Good luck managing them. Angela says, I feel like I'm being similarly, hang on, even though Gemini is, I feel like I'm being challenged similarly, even though Gemini ascendant, maybe because so close to Cancer cusp. Honey, I remember your chart, it is in your 12th house. So you would have the similar experience, I believe. Daphne says feeling bipolar. That is also something that a Gemini energy can very strongly bring into being, which is why the theme of this video is sanity is the new sexy. So the question is, what does sanity look like now? The world is insane. The world is doing its own thing. The world is doing, its own process. Different things are happening. I'm following the news. I spent a lot of time actually doing research on what's going on in the world, looking at what's happening, getting informed, looking at different sources, trying to get different perspectives. And slowly, here and there, you see governments in the background. They're making laws that seem, comments and laws and shifts in policy. So, we can just, we don't have to look at the thing about certain people and certain desks and everyone making fun of it. But we need to look at the fine print, look at the details, look at what's happening in the world right now. And you'll get an idea of which way this lunar eclipse is, pushing us towards. Frankly speaking, I would say this energy is probably likely in the short term at least to give us probably a bit more of a challenge with coronavirus rather than not, in response to VB's question. Just because when Gemini season is about, or even when strong Gemini energies are activated, people want to go around. They want to do things. They want to say things. They want to see things. They want to explore things. They're not going to want to just sit in one place. My kitty cat agrees. So yesterday we had to go out because we had to go get kitty litter. And just because these girls eat a lot and they poop a lot. And kitty litter is one of our essentials. So we had to go out, and I was looking out, and me and my brother were just looking around going, what the heck? And we saw all these dating couples, all in pairs, Gemini, all these dating couples. And we're just like, There is a pandemic. Like, what are you people doing? And people just couldn't handle it. They just had to get out of there. They had to do something. And in that sense, in the short term, I can actually see a lot of people, giving into that restless urge. So herein lies my recommendation: focus on sanity. Sometimes that urge to move, that urge to go, that urge to just process all of the information that's hitting us and all of the awareness that's hitting us just makes us want to go and lash out and do something crazy. So, this is, it's not a helpful energy at this time unless you work with it well. So, the thing about Gemini is when you figure out why Gemini is jumping up and down and around and everywhere, you will have a better handle of the energy. So, which is why we come back to sanity. What is it that Gemini energy is trying to teach you? Why are you restless? What do you need to say? What do you need to see? And if you can answer those questions for yourself, then you will have a better understanding of what it is that you are being called to do during this eclipse. You don't need to have a great understanding of astrology to do that. You just need to want to learn more about yourself. That's really why astrology is so useful. It helps you understand yourself more, but it's a tool, it's a means to self awareness and realization. It should never be a substitute. So look at what is it that you are needing to say, that you are needing to express, and in some cases where you are needing to be silent. I mean, very often, for those of you who know me, you know the help me, help me, Sky Priestess. What do you need? I need help, help. This voice is a very difficult voice for me to ignore. So my Gemini response is basically, here's help, take care, bye. So, and this little fellow can keep going meow, 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 but I'm not going to listen to it because my Gemini response needs to be pull back, detach, move on. Sometimes it's about knowing what to say, and sometimes it's knowing where silence is also power. Because Gemini is also, it's an air element. It's an element that actually fills the room and immediate space around you. And it's not like, everything around you is solid or liquid or whatever. It's covered with space, it's covered with air. So allow yourself to have those moments of pause. When you feel like, I got to do this, I got to say this, I got to do this, I got to say this, that's one version of Gemini. But there's another version of Gemini that's like the butterfly that can actually just sit there on one flower and then hop to the next and then hop to the next. But it takes its time. It's not rushed. It's not forced. It's not jagged. It's not erratic. And perhaps that's where you can find a sexy version of sanity, at least as far as I'm concerned. Gemini is also very much about the breath. It is also very much about just regulating your consciousness and in a way that allows you to stay focused on one thing, to finish the lessons of that, and then to go to the other thing. And it's very difficult to have that kind of discipline with this energy. But that is precisely what we need to do now. What I'm just doing is I am just checking to see some key alignments that might be of interest to you during the actual eclipse itself. Just hang on for a sec. Is behind me, which is why I'm looking around my phone. Hang on. Okay, let's look at the questions in the meantime. Dragon Queen says, I have a Gemini moon. Feeling cranky and impatient, I can understand. Jersey says, surprise, I caught this. It's almost 5 a.m. in New Jersey. Peace, Miss V. Peace. Dragon Queen says she's impatiently seeking the lesson. That doesn't work, honey. Patience gets you nowhere. So, one of the things that I would say is very important, and like I said, I'm looking around at my computer while I do this. One of the things that I'm going to say is very important for this moon is the role of Chiron and Vesta. So the actual Gemini moon is at 8 degrees of Gemini. The sun will be at 8 degrees of Sagittarius, and the moon will sextile Chiron, whilst the sun will trine Chiron. So Chiron becomes a focal point for this. And Chiron is, of course, the wounded healer. In the sign of Aries, it's all about the self and being able and willing to communicate that sense of vulnerabilities. So let me tell you what I did, which some of you might laugh at. Once in a while, when I feel like, oh, Mokti, why Mokti, why? Okay, I'm going to address this with something unrelated right now. Well, to be honest, honeys, if you look at the whole 13 sign business, just look at the actual belt of the zodiac. Yes, Ophiuchus is part of the zodiac, but literally it's like the edge of of one of his limbs or something. So it's like saying the line actually goes through the constellations like so, and there's one dude with a tiny, teeny bit of an edge that's touching the line, and you're saying that's now part of the zodiac. Look at the actual diagram before just going into but NASA said there are 13. No, there's a reason why the old astrologers looked at that and kind of went, nah, that's not really covered. So that's my thoughts of it. Go and actually look at the map before just reading something online that says the 13th sign. I know a lot of people will disagree with that, but hey, I'm looking at the actual map of the stars and I don't actually see it included very well. Up to you. So now let me continue what I was saying. So one of the things that I've been doing, just because once in a while, I mean, it's difficult when people know you, and people have always known me because I've always been a public figure. It's very hard to have a human conversation. So I'd go to chat rooms, not the kind of chat rooms, or actually most chat rooms are about sex these days. But I just go to places where I can just talk to regular people. So they have no idea who I am. I have no idea who they are. And we just have normal conversations and shit. And it's great. It's absolutely great. And, sometimes that's something that I do just to, and almost inevitably, I somehow end up coming back to work. Almost inevitably, but that's my thing. It's the kind of energy where just somehow someone is going to pick up a vibe and go, you must be very spiritual, or what do you think about this, and this? But my favorite conversation recently has been with this 20-year-old dude. And, he just said, you should have more fun. And that's about it. I realized, oh my God, I've completely forgotten how to talk to people. So that's how I've been indulging my Gemini a little bit. And it's good. It's good. It's about also just having these basic conversations about life, about things. That's also what Gemini is about. When you keep focusing too much on the mystical and esoteric, you forget to be a person. And if you forget to be a person, what are you doing here? If you wanted to be a dictionary or a textbook, you should have come back as that. So it's the kind of energy where you just need to be reminded to be a human being. Just need to be reminded to be a human being. Now, Daisy says, I've been wanting to fast and quit smoking for ages, and I feel that it's getting urgent, but I just can't find the focus and willpower right now. Gemini eclipse is not the time to do that. Wait for a couple of weeks. Mokti says, it's been pulling me and I have no idea where to look or what's it called. It's thought it was something to do with natural 13 moon cycles. The best system that follows the system of 13 is the Mayans. That is legit. Absolutely legit. When you look at the constellation things, that doesn't really add up when you look at the star charts, but the Mayans have the best understanding of the 13 star system. Oh, not star system, sorry, the system of 13 calculation. If you're looking for information on that, go to the Mayans. Um, Vivi says, I've never found chat rooms where you can have a good, decent conversation. But I don't know if there are even free chat rooms right now. There are. These are my tips for chat rooms. This is what I go. So when someone goes, hey, baby, I go, I'm not interested in sex. I have no idea how to flirt. And that's about it. 99% of the time, people run away. And that's exactly what I want because it's the 1%, no, in this case, a good 1% that I'd actually want to talk to. So that actually works. And I ended up just, chatting with this older gentleman in Arizona. And we even had a Skype conversation, and he's showing me his dog and that kind of thing. And I just met a normal person, which was great. It works. I just tend to be very, very upfront. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm not going to do. Take it or leave it. It works. VB, it works. I will send you the link of the chat site that I use. 90% of it is sleazy, but 10% you actually find people, which is really great. So, Tony says, I just checked my chart and I have Gemini in the fourth and fifth. Explains the thought of my past. Any tips of overcoming? You don't need to overcome your past. You just need to acknowledge your past. And yeah, that's painful. The past couple of days I've been thinking that's actually needed. And really, if you just give yourself room for that acknowledgement, that's more than enough. Let's see, what else we got here? Mokti says, VB, I never connected my lack of willpower recently to star alignments. A lot of things are connected to star alignments, not everything, but if you have sudden shifts in personality, sudden shifts in mood, sudden shifts in energy levels, and sustained over time, it is quite it's useful to look at what's going on there. Anna asks, how would you recommend dealing with anger when it comes to the Gemini eclipse? The erratic, out of balance Gemini mind seems like a recipe for mismanaged anger. And this is going to be a bit of a trite answer, but it's a true answer. Basically, you need to find a way to channel it and challenge it. The thing with anger is that it's a defense mechanism, and it's a good defense mechanism to have because bloody hell, there are things in the world that we need to defend ourselves from. If someone's trying to hit you, you're not going to go and say, oh, okay. No, you're going to do something. There are many reasons why people feel angry in the world, and that's perfectly okay. So sit down with your anger, figure out what's about. Why is it there? If it's something that you can manage, it's something that you can control, it's something that you can do something about, then do it. Otherwise, if you're angry at an existential sense of fundamental injustice and imbalance in the world, do what little you can because that is enough and surrender the rest to what you consider a higher power. Basically, it is a case of identifying why is that anger there and what is it trying to tell you. The Gemini mind is it can sometimes be a very fragmented experience. But that's true with any Gemini alignment. And like I said, every sign has its thing. Every sign has its own thing. But it's the kind of energy which also asks you to look at the different pieces that you've collected. If you're feeling something persistently and constantly, there's got to be a reason for it. So dig, go deeper. And that anger may actually be there for a real reason. See what I mean? Um, so let's see. Mokti says, so glad I came here. Now I know why these Geminis around me are angry and I'm happy. I thought they're just buzzkillers. Anna says, learning to sit with it, listening to it. Ah, okay, seeing the different pieces. Yes, thank you. Vivi says, do you like ice creams? I love ice cream. Ice cream, if it was a food category, would be my favorite food category. I would say butterscotch is probably my favorite flavor. It is quite unique. But I know where you live, VB. Go to Ibaco Ice Cream. Check out the Maharaja Bhog. It is fantastic. You will love it. If you like ice cream, go to Ibaco. Ibaco is this chain in India. It's phenomenal. There's a particular ice cream made with pistachio and rose and cardamom and saffron, and it's just fantastic. Um, Angela's like, I've been craving brownies lately. What's in the brownies, Angela? What did you make them with, Angela? Cosmos Creation says, much love, my dear Sky Priestess. Much love to you as well. But as I said, Gemini is a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. It's a lot that's coming up, and different people are going to deal with it differently. Mokti says, ice cream is on my food pyramid. You need something to top the fruit with. I like that attitude. I like that attitude. Maybe it's totally fine. This is a hello neighbor, and if my neighbors can't ask you about ice cream, I don't know what's the point. Daphne says, should we fast today and tomorrow to keep energies clean? You can if you want to. My baby says she's not going to fast, but you are welcome to if you wish. Basically, people do recommend fasting during an eclipse because there is a scientific reason and a basis for this. And you can look that up online if you want. I find that the more I actually try to do something and says, I have to do this, that's exactly when my ego goes, haha. So follow what your body wants. Generally, staying with light foods, foods that are easily digestible, is a better idea. Try to stay away from things that are very, very heavy. Sometimes you need to eat something because the energies can be so intense. And especially since you're grieving right now, Daphne, you may want to just, take the opportunity to also detox. If you can handle it, nettle tea is really good and would be an aid to you at this time. Also, thyme. Thyme would be very good. In fact, thyme's a good general recommendation for this time. Time and time. It allows you to really get stuff out of the throat. But again, check your contraindications. Some people can't handle those herbs. Fatma says, I love pistachio flavored anything, and that sounds delicious. It does, doesn't it? The best ice cream I have found is in India. The best. Um, Vivi says, maybe yogurt also. Jessica says, what is the difference between a lunar and solar eclipse energetically? It's a good question. I've been thinking about this myself. I remember years ago, before I became the Sky Priestess, I used to read, I think it's Susan Miller's Astrology Zone, because I was like everybody else. I was just like, oh, I'm a Capricorn. Oh, this is happening. Oh, that's so cool. That happened. Yay. And the way she used to describe it was, she basically said that lunar eclipses were times where things could be eclipsed out, like a point of culmination and then an ending. And solar eclipses were times to set seeds. And that's true. But what I have found is when you go deeper at the energetic level, at times I can't even tell the difference anymore. I'll be honest with you. I can't tell the difference anymore, just because when you work at the level of energy, a full moon and a new moon are basically points of intensity. All the time I'm setting new seeds. All the time I'm, pulling out things that don't work. So for me personally, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But perhaps for other people, the culminating versus beginning metaphor might work better. We'll see. Let's see. Daphne says that's funny because my throat does hurt. I don't know, but my energies feel like they're kicking and screaming. You just suffered a personal loss. Take your time. Take your time. It's been a very difficult time. So take your time. You're going to feel like that. Scream if you have to. Go and scream into a pillow. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. Anna Lisa Pasta says, wow, Mokti says so many cravings for sugar. I actually don't have a craving for sugar right now. I feel very proud of myself. That's my snooty face. My biggest craving right now would be sleep. Sleep would be my craving. Like sleep. Our bodies are packing on fat for the winter. I think I have enough. Thank you. um, but yeah. So, I'd say unless there are any further questions, we can probably wrap this up. Oh, hang on. Fatma says, I binged on Nando's last night. My soul wanted fries and coleslaw. Angela says, "Oh, it's so rare for me to crave sugar, so this has been weird for me." Another thing that can actually touch upon is that the age where we're very sensitive to, changes in glucose is when we're kids. Gemini is also the energy that deals with childhood. It deals with those formative and early years of life. So maybe for some of you, maybe this stuff could be a repeat of certain themes, certain biochemical themes that came up. So just look back 18 and see what was coming up then in your life. Um, yeah, just do your thing. Do your thing. The more I learn about anything, the more I realize that the simplest advice tends to be the right one. Not oversimplified, but something that comes deep. Oh, Watchman is online. Watchman is my friend from Australia, and he's my brother to me. And I went to his house, and his house is like a crystal palace, and it's great. And so it's nice to see you. Hello, hello, hello. He actually rescued me at a time where I was at the airport in Australia, and a lot of my pilgrimages have been I have no idea where I'm going next. And someone will come and say, "Hey, I'm going to take care of you. Come stay here." And that's exactly what happened with me and Greg. Greg is his name. And yeah, we've just been friends for a while. So that's good. Greg, are you looking forward to the upcoming eclipse? Abundance says this eclipse is conjunct my natal moon and opposite my Pluto. Yikes! 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 What are you doing? How are you? What's happening? Vivi says, I love Australia. I love certain parts of Australia. I love the indigenous energies there very much, and they seem to like me as well. Basically, indigenous energy and me get along really well. Doesn't matter where I am. If it's there, I'll be like, yo, and they'll be like, yo, and it'll be cool, you know? Um, but I remember Tasmania. Whoosh, Tasmania was a very intense place. Um, very intense. Let's just say the land tested me there, but I think it was happy. But so, yeah, any final notes? I don't know if I'm going to be on tomorrow, so I'm covering everything that I can think of right now. It all depends on which way the energy guides me. You know the way I go. You know the way I go. Um, I would say final notes. Oh, okay. Final notes would say one of the things that can also come up is okay, two final notes. One, issues to do with the nerves. Two, issues to do with siblings. So those are general areas you also want to look out for. Sometimes something may need your attention. Don't ignore it. Focus on your breath, look at your nerves, look at your perception, look at what is coming up for you from childhood, look at your relationship with siblings, the general Gemini stuff. Cover that, you should be okay unless there's something major in your chart going on. Let's see. Jessica Smithson says, you bring so much wisdom. Thank you. Just listening to you brings great aha moments. You are most welcome. Abundance says, I'm in bed. I've barely had appetite lately and struggling with living at my mom's house. I'm sorry to hear it. Watchman says, I am closing my eyes and letting the eclipse pass over. Ah, wise. Vivi said, what was the second one? Siblings, your brothers, your sisters, even cousin brothers, cousin sisters, people who grew up around you in your early childhood years. So that's something you also want to look at as well. So these are some of the big themes. These are some of the big themes that can come up. And you just want to pay attention. Pay attention, do what you got to do. I mean, the thing is, if we got worried with every eclipse and every alignment, sure, astrologers are going to make a shit ton of money based on your fear, but you're not going to actually get any self awareness. So come back, simplify, come back to the basics, come back to the basics. In response to Mokti's question, looks like Mokti and Vivi are the most, not in mind, it's perfectly fine. Mokti and Vivi are the most active questioners today. Um, Mokti says, would you recommend the T23 program for those new to astrology? No. Mm-mm. The Tier 23 program it's not about whether a person is new or not new to astrology or not. It all depends on how they will take it. There are some people who are very advanced and very well versed in astrology that I would say don't do it because their mind is already too much focused on the box that is astrology. There's some people who are very, very new and they still enjoy it because they know what they're there for. They go, you know what? I have no idea what you're talking about, but your energy makes me understand what I need to understand. So for people like that, I'll be like, okay, yeah, sure, cool. The Tier 23 program is more than anything else. It is a means of, I guess it's even more intense than Hello Neighbor in the sense that it is more about creating and training people in a particular way to see energy in a particular way. But for people who are young on their journey and who don't really have a clear sense of themselves yet, I would say no, you want to get that. It's less about the astrology and it's more about the energy behind it, which is why the followers of Year 23 love the program. because I'm not going to preach at you. I'm not going to say, I'm right, you're wrong, you got to listen to me. I'm going to say, this is what I think, this is how you can flow with it, this is how you can move with it. So it's more complex than that. Um, let's see. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah, Fatma says, yep, it's also just another day. We just got to move through it in the best way possible for ourselves. That's exactly the right attitude. When we put too much, when we give too much focus on, this thing and that thing and that thing, it's not to say they don't have an influence, but you lose yourself to that influence. Sometimes you can't help it because your personal planets may be aspected in a certain way or whatever, but the astrology just makes you aware that this is not you. This is not you. So this is the way I would interpret it. Pure Light says, "Salut, peeps. Hello, hello, salut." But I would say that is a wrap. Just because I'm tired, and hopefully now I have worked out all the energy I need to work out, and hopefully I can have a snack and cuddle my cat, who will let me cuddle her for about a minute because I am blessed. About a minute. I get about a minute at most, and then sleep. So take care. Very many blessings. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. That's just the way things go. The best you can do is to bring your most aligned, conscious, compassionate self to the front and do your best. So take care. Many blessings. Lots of love. And remember, sanity is the new sexy. Bye.